Hi, this is Karl with a Relax, Focus, Succeed video, and today I want to talk to you about something you may not want to hear, but I think you'll be glad when it's done. Here's the good news, bad news. Most of the time, nobody is paying any attention to you. I know, that can be a little hard on the ego, because we all like to think that everybody's paying attention to what we do and that what we do is important and that we matter and that if we make a mistake, somebody's watching. But that gets to the good news. If people are not really paying much attention to you because they're paying attention to themselves, that also means they're not paying attention to your mistakes. Many years ago, back in the turn of the century, when the dot-com era was just taking off, I worked with several companies that had this belief system that said, if we let the world know what we're up to too soon, then they're all going to come after us. The big companies, the IBMs and the Microsofts of the world, they're going to see what we're doing and they're going to come after us. Time and time again, I heard companies express this belief, but then after a little while, we come to the realization that those big companies are paying zero attention to tiny little competitors and wannabes. And that lesson is very important. It means that you can relax a little bit because you're not the center of anyone's universe except yourself and maybe 2 or 3 other people. There's power in knowing that you are mostly anonymous in the world. And I know a lot of people think, well, that's not very nice to say, but it's true. Here's the thing. There's an old saying that employees' favorite hobby is watching the boss, right? If you're the boss, everybody's paying attention to what you do. And if you take a little extra postage, other people think they can use the postage meter. If you do this, if you do that, other people take advantage of whatever it is. And that might be true at some level, but the other thing is that for the most part, we are not paying attention to the boss or anybody else. Most of us are trying as hard as we can to do a good job in our world with the things that we're taking on, whether that's a hobby or a job, and we are not focusing on other people. So turn that around. There's a certain freedom in knowing that most of the time, most people are not paying any attention to you. I always tell my employees this, because they'll say things like, well, should we put that change up on the website now or later or this or that or whatever? Very often we add stress to our lives by assuming that we are under somebody else's microscope. But we're not. They're off doing their thing. They're building their website. They're changing their stuff. A perfect example is, let's say that you are going to put out a video and then you're going to put out a newsletter and you want the newsletter to point to the video. Should you spend a lot of time and energy making sure they go out at the exact right moment? My answer would be no. Put the video out in the middle of the night. No one will be paying any attention. And then put out your newsletter and point to the video and it'll be there, no questions asked, everything works, the timing is excellent, and you don't have any issues. Now, you can try to orchestrate the world so all these things happen at exactly the right moment, exactly the right second, but there isn't a lot to be gained from that, but there is much to be gained by relaxing a little bit, taking things a little more leisurely, doing them right, and letting things just go the way they go. One of the benefits of believing that nobody's paying attention to you is that you can also make some mistakes with no consequences. And what happens is you go out, you do something, you put it out in the world, you find that there's a mistake, you fix that, you move on. Time and time again, you'll learn that there's great power in just moving projects forward and not worrying that everything is exactly perfect on the first take. There are very few things in your life where you get one take and then you're done, right? There's one thing you have to do to win the gold in the Olympics. That's great if you're in the Olympics, and you should put all your attention into that one thing. But for most of us in most of our lives, we get do-overs. We get to put out a newsletter, we get to put out a correction, we get to fine-tune the wording when somebody points something out to us, we get to fix spelling errors, right? So many things in our lives, we just have to relax a bit and understand you might feel pressure from other people, but those people are not putting that pressure on you. You are putting that pressure on yourself. And almost invariably, when people are freaked out and anxious because of what other people will think, those people aren't thinking about them at all. My longtime friend, Arlen Sorensen, once spoke these words at a meeting, and it hit me so hard, I wrote it down and I have repeated it as often as I can. He doesn't know precisely where he got this, although he attributes it to his father. And the words are this: don't worry what other people think about you, because they probably don't. There's huge power in that. If you just do what you want to do the things that you think are good for yourself, good for your family, good for your community, good for society, go do it. And if other people are on the side, throwing darts or whatever, don't worry about it. But for the most part, they're not doing that. I've always been a little frustrated with the old way that YouTube listed every thumb down. Now, if you notice, YouTube counts how many thumbs up a video gets, but they don't count the thumbs down. They just give you the option to thumb down if you want to. The reason I was frustrated before is that there will be a video that might have 37,000 thumbs up and 12 thumbs down. And I always was just freaked out. Like, what's with these people who thumbs down a video that is obviously universally loved? Like, what are you doing, right? So there's Patsy Cline with 37,000 thumbs up and 12 thumbs down. Like, come on, people, what are you doing? But the reality is, as I've produced many, many videos, so I have 2 different channels and over 1,000 videos. Most of the time, nobody thumbs up and nobody thumbs down. Thousands of people every day watch videos and they don't thumbs up and they don't thumbs down. They watch very casually. Maybe if something grabs their attention, they tune in a little better. Maybe they subscribe and like, as you should do right now. But for the most part, people are not paying any attention, right? So you need to relax. It's okay. It is okay to make mistakes. And on a related matter, it is definitely in your best interest to relax about mistakes. Again, if nobody's paying any attention, then you have an opportunity to make mistakes and fix it. It's interesting. When we get out in the world, what do we know? We know for a fact that if you want to get better at your job or your hobby or anything, the way that you do it is you do something, you make mistakes, you fix it, you learn something, you do it different the next time, you do it better, rinse, repeat. In other words, mistakes are a key piece of the process of getting better and better and better all of your life. And I say it's an odd thing because in school, mistakes are things that count against you. If you make too many mistakes, you don't pass. If you make too many mistakes, an A becomes a B becomes a C. Well, the reality is, in the real world, if you make too many mistakes, you learn and you get better and you move up. Very few people find that making mistakes in the world actually hurts them. Again, there are exceptions. There are critical times when a critical mistake can be very damaging to people's health and welfare and so forth and so on. But for the most part, you make a mistake, you learn from your mistakes, you redo whatever you were doing, and you do it better and better and better. And that's how we improve. That's how we grow as individuals, as professionals, and in all of the things in our life. One of the most powerful things that happens to human beings is relationships. Relationships with friends and spouses and children and communities. The most powerful friendships are those where somebody has made a mistake and you've mended the fences and you've decided to continue to be in a relationship and you move on from there. So mistakes are okay. And you just have to accept the fact that people make mistakes. We're in the habit of forgiving each other, but we're also in the habit of feeling really bad because we made a mistake. Again, relax. It's okay. I'm not saying mistakes are good, but mistakes happen. In all of the businesses I've ever owned, I have had a philosophy that mistakes will happen, period. So not making mistakes is not an option. That doesn't mean I approve of sloppy behavior or whatever. No, we hold people accountable, but at the end of the day, mistakes happen, we learn, we grow, we move on, we get better. You should have that kind of kindness towards yourself as well as towards others. And just remember, at the end of the day, you are the one who puts most of the pressure upon yourself. And it goes a long ways to come to the realization that nobody's paying attention most of the time. Recently, one of my employees was telling me about a conversation she had with somebody who said, well, I want to put up this new change and so forth and so on, but I'm not sure when to do it and when to actually pull the trigger and make it happen and so forth. And she said, look, if there's one thing I've learned from working with Karl, it's that nobody's paying attention. So that gives you the freedom to go forth, put your stuff up, tell a few friends about it, get some feedback, fine-tune it, and move on from there. And if you think about it, it's truly a powerful thing to accept the power of a certain level of anonymity. Do me a favor, give me a like and a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. Put your questions down below and I'll be happy to comment on them or give you any feedback that I might have. Thanks for tuning in. This has been yet another Relax, Focus, Succeed video.